Why are you worried all the time? Stop being so anxious. You know, if you stopped overthinking so much, life would be so much easier. I mean, I feel like that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to not worry about things by ignoring them, but I realized that was just a form of procrastination. I just finished training 5 clients this morning. I had 11 clients yesterday. I'm gonna clean up my area, my little studio. It's weird calling it a studio. I feel like an imposter, but it's a studio. This is where I make my art. And I just want to tidy up so my brain could work better. I'm gonna skewer 10 pounds of barbecue, and then I gotta heat up the grill, and I'm gonna host my sister and her boyfriend and his brother and his friends and his brother's wife as well. This is my treadmill. I freaking love this treadmill. I can walk anytime I want in here. I would ignore all my problems and all the things that I had to do, all the responsibilities that I had to follow through on. Ignorance is bliss, but the issue with that is nothing gets taken care of. So how can I balance out not thinking about the problem too much, but also taking care of the problem so that it doesn't build up later on into a bigger problem? Because my personality is that when I do start taking care of a problem, I start overthinking it, that even after the fact that I've solved the problem, my mind dwells on what if the other shoe will drop? So it's all about that balance of solving the issue early enough and moving on. So let's figure it out together. I'm gonna hang up these paintings too. This is heavy. Out of sight, out of mind, but also take care of it. And taking care of it means you're bringing awareness to what's bothering you or what's making you anxious. Why is it making you anxious? It's because you don't know much about it. You don't know what the future holds. But how can you know? At least for what I did, I realized it's just about knowing my own finances, for instance. It's kind of like what I'm doing with this room right now. I'm uncovering all the mess, all the stuff that I didn't know was there. Kind of like unknown charges in my account, and I just reorganize and clean them up. Oof, this marinade smells so good. That is 10 pounds of pork shoulder. I marinated it in my dad's Filipino barbecue marinade recipe. Maybe I'll put up the video here. I've soaked these skewers overnight. I usually just soak them for 30 minutes so it prevents the sticks from burning when we grill them. I gotta put the gloves on. Try to poke it upwards. So I've tried doing this without gloves before. Because it's been refrigerated, the marinade is so cold, it almost gives me, I'm being dramatic, I'm like, it feels like frostbite. It's not. It's just really cold. And the gloves are helping. And I try not to squish the meats together too much like this because I want to give them room to cook. That's good. And it's kind of therapeutic. And I like to put the fattier ones, so the fattier ones are like the white caps and these little stringy parts. I like to put those towards the top because they get more exposure to the heat. I feel like they do. They get all charred. Last time I did 3 pounds and it fed 6 adults. And this time there are gonna be 6 adults as well, but the 2 guys that are coming, they could put it away. So I'm gonna make 3 times as much. Then I'll put them in here. Oh, I gotta cook rice. I'm gonna try to recreate my dad's Filipino barbecue skewer marinade. So I hope I don't mess this up. And if I mess it up, you can disown me. The base should be this Mamacita's, specifically the barbecue marinade. Good Lord. Got him. Put the whole thing in. Just call it 12 ounces. Lemon. Squeeze it. We have banana ketchup. Before you say, ew, gross, just think banana ketchup is kind of like your weird cousin that shows up and then you're like, wow, they're actually really sweet and really cool to hang out with once I got to know them. So try it out first. It's a lot of garlic. I'm gonna use Sprite, half a can. Pepper. And
think that's good. We have 12 fluid ounces of the Mamacita's barbecue sauce, 12 ounces banana ketchup, 2 whole lemons, half a can of Sprite, a shit ton of garlic, and a lot of black pepper. So I'm gonna put the pork in. I'm gonna cover this up in the fridge overnight. It's all done. That took a long ass time. But now I gotta set up my grill.
When I was in college, I would just wait till the very last minute to study for a test, to do a huge project or finish homework that should have been done a month ago, waiting until the very last minute to make sure that I get my student loans in time. My old solution was to just ignore the issue until I had to take care of it, because that means that's less time for me to think about it, right? My old solution of reducing the amount of time that I had to think about it in the form of procrastination backfired so much, because it didn't help. So I did everything completely wrong. It was a vicious cycle, and I just kept getting more and more anxious and kept worrying about the same thing over and over and over again. And that just kept happening for years and years, until after the 50,000th time that it was told to me, especially by my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband. He was like, if you just took care of these things early enough, you wouldn't have to worry about it. And I know I've heard that iteration from one of my parents over and over again in the past, but I never really listened to them because they're my parents, duh. I didn't want to listen to them. But for some reason, at that one day, that one time, it just clicked. And I know this is gonna sound dumb from an objective point of view. What if I did take care of my car repairs as soon as I found a problem with my car? I would pay for it right away, even though it is a large chunk of money. But that means that I wouldn't have to take care of other repairs in the future because I didn't take care of that issue with my car in the past. And I realized a lot of my issues were pretty simple, and I was just making a big deal out of it because that was the meaning that I was attaching to it. It's all about perspective at the end of the day. For example, I could be sick. I'm a little sick right now, but I could be making a huge deal out of it and just focus so much on it, which I have, and I'd catch myself. Why am I making such a big deal out of me being sick? I've done it before, probably do it again, and I'll get through it. Why not just focus on the healing? Because the more you focus on a specific topic, you just start spiraling and you think of the worst possible case scenarios, and you go down that rabbit hole, and it almost feels like you can't climb out, which makes the anxiety worse, which paralyzes you, which prevents you from doing to fix whatever it is you need to fix. So if it's perspective, can't I change it? I can see the car repair bill as something insignificant versus something so huge. And again, objectively, I can look at my bank account and say, okay, it is a lot more than I could afford right now. But I have faith and belief that things will be figured out no matter what. What can I adjust in my spending? What are some things that are unnecessary to spend on that I could put towards my car repair bill? Are there credit cards that I could apply for that have 0% interest for the next 12 to 15 months? Then when I started to think ahead and started to plan for my car repair bills, my student loans, and my rent, things started to feel a little easier. And guess what? Lo and behold, I started keeping more money. And I realized the root of my procrastination was the fear of the unknown. And what's a good solution for that? You just start uncovering what you don't know. It sounds so stupid simple, but bear with me here. When you don't know, for example, what's going in and out of your bank account, doesn't that make you a little bit more anxious? Aren't you anxious to spend? Aren't you anxious to pay back a little bit more of that loan? But when you actually take a deep dive into what your finances actually look like, you start to see some blind spots. And you realize, oh, this isn't too bad. You keep digging, and then you find more things that you've been spending on, like subscriptions, let's say, that you didn't even know that you were paying for. And then you start to feel like icky just giving that money away unconsciously, and you realize, I can control this. These are notes to me and my younger self, and if you resonate with it, then that's awesome. And I think we all have the same human experience, just in different flavors. The more awareness that I bring into my life, it doesn't have to be with finances, it could be with meditation, more awareness with seeing what's going on in my brain, what feelings usually crop up, how I usually react to certain situations, words, or tones of voices that people give me. Awareness is key to living a little bit more of a peaceful and happier life because you know what's going on. You know yourself. You know the ins and outs of your bills. You know the ins and outs of your emotions. And if you want to take it into a health standpoint, you know the ins and outs of your nutrition because you've been keeping track of what you've been eating, and that's why your stomach hurt today, because you ate dairy again, knowing full well that you're lactose intolerant, which I keep doing, and I can't help it. I love tres leches. And I guess it's as simple as that. It's just realizing that procrastination is a symptom of your fear of the unknown. At least for me it is. Realizing that the solution to that fear is to start uncovering the unknown by taking simple steps. So now you can take a completely objective look at your life and seeing where you need to make tweaks or changes or what you want to keep, and realize that everything's so much simpler. And because things are so much simpler, life gets so much easier, more peaceful, and happier.
I finished uploading all of my paintings on my site and through the art spread, which is the current online gallery that I'm partnered with. This took a long time, and I definitely underestimated how long it would take for me to go through Photoshop, make sure that all the dimensions are correct, and what the file size is whenever I'm uploading on the site, because it's kind of picky. But I'm getting a hang of it, and I know now what the process should be, so I know I had to go through today in order to get my reps in. In the future, it's going to be so much easier because when I have a new piece, I know that I can immediately take photos of it, get it from the angles and the sides that I want, especially if it's a 3D textured piece. And I'm immediately gonna jot down what size it is, what the media is, and the year and all that. This is all an exercise. Took me 5 hours today.